Let's start, we'll call to order the December 5th meeting of the Select Board. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, liberty and justice for all.
Alrighty then. What do you got for us?
Manifest.
Manifest.
I'll make a motion to approve the accounts payable manifest of December 5th, 2016 and December 6th, 2016.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
One new hire rate setting, one annual merit, and document for the lot and margin.
Nice. Okay. Next we have minutes.
Did you sign that? You didn't
I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes of October 31st, 2016, as written.
Do you want to do the bunch, or do you have any you want to discuss?
sign it. Do the first two and then the non-public.
Do the first two, so October
31st.
31st and
Oh. Motion that we accept the minutes as corrected on October 31st, 2016, and November 21st, 2016.
all in favor?
Second.
All in favor.
You're Russian.
And with that, we'll adjourn. Sorry,
That's all right.
I was cramming on a deadline all day long, so I'm still like, okay. How do you want to do the second one?
I just want to, we haven't, I know I sent in edits to just about all of the non-publics. I don't know if anybody else. Edits.
I
don't
did
know
not.
if the edits were.
I don't know that I saw the edits.
All in one
They-
batch.
They're not, are they in here?
Request. I don't think they're not public, so,
They're not in here.
Probably as amended.
These are as amended, yes, but, the non-publics we don't have. Charlene sent edits.
You don't have them on paper, or you didn't get them?
I don't think we got them.
I'll re-email them.
Okay, all right.
So let's hold off
So
on
we'll
those.
hold off on those. All non-publics will go to the next meeting. All right, boards and committees. Budget committee,
Thursday.
planning,
We have not met. Our next meeting is next week, and we're meeting with Bruce Mayberry, who did
Oh,
the
good.
impact fees, so.
is he presenting?
Yeah, so we'll be discussing them with them. I mean, I think the biggest one is the fire is gonna be a status quo.
Yep.
The school and rec, which I haven't seen yet, but I think he sent it. I think
Okay.
it's been sent.
Good, that's it. I have nothing on that, so we'll go on to town administrator report.
Not much for you either. We started on the update to the hazard mitigation plan, committee of 5 or 6 of us. Charlene, the next one of those is the 21st
Of,
December.
all right, did you make modifications to, I haven't looked at them in detail, but, so, I'll give you a call.
Yeah, it was, this is just a
Yeah, it's still like a series of questions and stuff. Font might want to be changed on the document.
Who's, when you say there's 5 people in that, when you say there's 5 people, are they representative?
Well, we're gonna piece together whoever we can grab, contribute something. It was Chief Voss, John Fernald, Tracy Gaskin.
Yep.
Would have a firefighter or two.
Building inspector?
Paul, isn't it?
All will be the post back, so they'll be at
Okay.
that'll be.
Is he back from his long vacation?
Just back today.
Good.
He had a good time. Our replacement, Dennis Pelletier, who works part-time in Epping, that worked really well. Schedule-wise is a little funky, but
Good.
turnarounds are pretty good.
Good.
That was, and lastly, since we last met, we lost Pam Twombly.
Yeah.
That all happened from event to service. It happened very
Right.
quickly
Right.
around the holiday.
Right.
I know the town was well represented. There were no, but her name has come up around.
Yeah.
And that's all I got for you.
Hey, quiet. All right,
No accidents today?
Yes, there were. There was one, well, there was a number. The only, I think the serious one was down on Ledge Farm, no injuries, but, wow, guys, the radio just went quiet. 45 minutes ago or so, they
no,
Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah,
for a short pile of snow, they
Yeah.
yeah, it's one of those.
People
It's
forget.
gonna be slippery tonight.
Yeah, and it was not much snow, but it just, time of day that it fell. I'm not young.
No.
Right. Busy for the police as well.
Yeah.
I have to say, I've been thinking about, we have such a great, we have such a great police department, a great fire department as well, but our police do so much for this town. You know, they run the DARE program, they do their jobs, they, really manage the whole parade on Saturday. I mean, Courtney runs it, but I never realized that, like, Gunner leads the parade. And they were all there supporting that, and then having a really busy day today. I think we're very fortunate.
It was great having, it was, force was there. and
Exactly.
It was enough.
Yeah, exactly.
It was great.
Yeah. Okay, so do you wanna do anything in here?
You can do the, restoration of merged lots.
Okay.
There's a form in there. This is the second one of these that you were handling. You, had what was basically an appeal of a Board of Assessors decision a couple months ago.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
As we learned that it should be you that's handling these and not the Board of Assessors, so, cooked up the form that will help our successors understand what happened as they dig through files in the future. Whenever you face one of these, you'll get a recommendation from staff. This one's pretty cut and dried.
Two.
Mapped out
Yep.
prior thing, you can see the town action, merge them. It was so clean, we just said, let's put it on paper. You can get more process intensive with it if you want. If you want to learn more about it, we can do that. If there's any justification for us to say no, we would bring that to you.
Yep.
so inclined, but, the law doesn't give you a lot of latitude. The trail is clear.
So just walk us through the logic of this. There were, involuntarily merged lots. They were unmerged and he wanted it to go back to.
No, there
Other
were
way.
two separate lots that were merged by the town.
Yep.
In a,
Yep.
just a housekeeping operation,
Yep,
basically.
yep, yep,
And
yep.
the owner would like them to be two separate lots. as
Okay.
they were in the past.
Right, okay. And we're saying, no, we want it should be kept one.
No, we're
No,
saying.
we're saying yes,
we're
after
saying-
review, it was, we
Okay,
merged
We
it,
agree, it was a town action that merged it without any
Which-
other.
okay,
Yeah.
it shouldn't have been.
okay.
It's not that it shouldn't have been, it was a legal action,
was-
but it.
So he wanted it to be two, and that's essentially how it's ending up, is
Yes.
it's gonna
Back
be
to
two.
the two.
Okay,
Yeah, and the law sets it up that it's, yes, you have to approve it, but it used to be two things, and it can be shown,
Do we need to make a motion?
that's the cleanest way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I'll make a motion that we approve the request for restoration of voluntary merged lots currently listed as map 23 lot 7 and on review by the town.
I'll second that.
all in favor? Aye. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
But that's good. Okay, what next, Chris?
You wanted to talk about the veterans tax credit?
Sure.
I brought this to you a while back and explained what the change in the law was. A few weeks ago, I refined the estimate of what the financial impact of it could be. We've had a couple, since we last talked about it here, we've had a couple other inquiries about it.
Okay.
Residents.
So walk us through all the background, please.
Well, there's by state law, the town can opt to provide a tax credit to veterans that served certain time periods.
Yep.
Or more service credit, those that served during. So there are a number of folks that get that credit now. You apply for it, and if your service dates and your discharge status are all what they need to be, then you can get a $500 tax credit.
Yep,
The $500 number is the maximum allowed by state law, and the town meeting set that several years ago.
yep,
Last year, the law changed to basically do away with the gap, give the town the option to make it not a war service credit, but an all veterans credit.
Okay.
Apply the same credit to war service veterans as to
yep,
veterans and surviving spouses. The credit has to be the same for everyone that gets it.
yep.
If the town wants to change it, the town meeting that has to do it, so if you want to act on it, you will place it on the warrant. It's new, so there's a number of towns going through the same process right now.
Yep.
It's, from what I've seen, a mix of, we're gonna move forward with it to, we're gonna wait and see, but the hardest part for most folks is seeing what it's gonna cost. Where it's a tax credit, it's basically just a redistribution of the tax burden. It comes off the top, and then you divide what's
Sure.
left,
Yeah.
amongst everybody,
Yeah.
so. if we were to expand it from war service veterans to all veterans right now, I estimated that another 135 or so veterans would become eligible. I think most would probably take advantage of it. It's big enough and easy enough that the reward to hassle ratio is pretty good.
Yeah.
So at if you kept the credit the same at 500 per property, no, it's per veteran, I think, spouses would vote. So per veteran. The redistribution would cost around 67,000 or 11 cents.
So, our credit currently is 500.
Correct. If you wanted to have no net impact in terms of the cost, for lack of a better word, you could drop the credit to $300 for everybody and cover those newly eligible,
Yep,
roughly.
Yep.
You don't know what the hard numbers are, but it's about 300 for everyone, revenue neutral.
so we've had 233 eligible for it,
We have,
and that this would increase it to 416, is, am I?
Estimated, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, estimated,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, thoughts?
So I'm leaning towards, let's wait a year, see what other towns do. Some of my thinking is that we look at, maybe gather some data on what other towns are doing as far as the amount of the credit versus the tax rate. So there's some balance there. That's my thinking.
How, but how much data is there available now in terms of what other towns are doing?
this.
Brand new, so we don't.
Yeah,
Well,
this
no,
is
the-
brand new, so all I have is the listserv chatter. I'd say I've seen a half a dozen towns that are moving forward with it. That's not a poll, that's just who happened to respond.
Are most towns at the 500 level now?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of, it doesn't have to be all or nothing, but I think most that do it at the 5.
Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to take anything away from, any of them. I mean, not a veteran myself, I still haven't taken advantage of it. I plan to, but I don't know if you could split it up from the ones that served in wartime, continue to get the 500 and then gave the other ones a stipend or something, I don't know. Like
Can
the,
you do that? You can't
gotta
split,
wait,
it's
you
gonna be the
cross-
same.
That way they wrote
okay.
the law.
Yeah.
Because my question is 500 the still the right amount? That's towards a wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like,
I think we should do something, I just,
but there's a date on it too, right? If they don't sign up by a certain date, you're not eligible.
Each year.
April
Each
1st,
year.
they
Yeah,
have
I
to sign
think
up.
it's April 1st probably. But you remain eligible, it just would happen the following.
Yeah.
year.
so my initial reaction was, that it makes sense. And I have such respect for anybody who's served, regardless of whether or not they've, been in war situation, that I would want to, consider it, and I would want to give the voters the option, right, which obviously we have to after a town meeting. But your point is well taken, that we should probably see how other towns are handling it, because if we are gonna bring it to the voters, we should bring a recommendation. And at this point, we probably don't have enough data to make the right recommendation. So, I think probably delaying it for 1 year.
Yeah, I mean, the
what you sent me.
folks that are currently getting it don't.
They still get it.
They still get it.
Yeah,
Forgot.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, so, so the way that the new law is, which I don't know, was the old law that the spouse would get it,
Surviving spouse.
the surviving spouse would get it. Was that in the old, the
Yeah, that
language to the
hasn't
old
changed.
law too? So that's, yeah, that still exists. So that hasn't.
Yeah, I mean, given the fact that it's not gonna impact the people who are already getting it, right? I'm in favor of getting the data, delaying it for 1 year.
Seeing what other towns are doing, and then I think comparing, based on that, then comparing it. Like Rochester, I saw they only do a $200. I just did a quick. I didn't spend a lot of time. So there are towns that give different ones, but
Okay.
kind of, I think it should be in relation to what the property taxes are.
Are you okay with continuing with the way it's being done now and then reevaluating next year based on what we've learned from others?
I mean, I'm sure, I mean, if the people of the town wanna change it, they could do it, right?
Yeah, they can petition.
They could
They can
petition, right?
petition.
Yep,
Yes.
they definitely could. Okay, do you need,
Nope,
nothing on
if
that?
that's where you wanna go, then that's,
Yep.
we can leave it there.
Let's make sure that we bring that up next year in a timely manner so that we can look at the data.
Mhm.
Alrighty, shall we move on to recreation?
Certainly.
Hey Courtney,
Hi, how are you?
good, how are you?
So we've been threatening to bring Courtney back for a long time, and it seemed like as good a time as any.
Yep.
You got some stuff from her electronically, as well as a list of things to talk about. I think you brought some more that we haven't seen yet, maybe?
Yeah.
Couple
I think
pieces.
so. Couple of different pieces.
So maybe we start with Courtney's list and then go to anything else you want to cover?
Sure, that
Does that
sounds
make
good.
sense?
Yep.
Fresh off a successful parade.
Yeah, nice job there.
We made it through, so that was fun. It was a nice day too, which
It was-
brought out a lot
Yeah,
of people.
yeah.
That
It's
helped.
nice. I guess the first thing that I kind of want to go over would be summer camp. 'Cause that was the farthest thing, the first thing that happened after the hire. So
Yep.
we had a survey sent out and about all of our summer programming, which I think we sent to you. And my assistant Nicole, who we are losing in.
Yeah, we heard, yep.
She put together this awesome recap of the survey. And some of the points that kind of stuck out to me were, number one is that our staff was ranked the highest of our concerns, the most concerns of parents. So ideas how to fix this, and I don't want that, I want that to be the least of the parents' worries, especially when they're dropping their kids off with us every day of the summer. So, ideas to fix this moving forward, a couple of the counselors came up with this idea last summer and I loved it, is a beginning of the summer picnic, almost like a, that way the parents get to come in, talk with all of the staff, get to know who's taking care of their kid and that kind of thing. So that's the first major thing to plan is we had a change in plans where we do an end of the season cookout at the beach and we had to move it here this year. So something like that is kind of what we're looking at.
Did you dive into that at all to find out where the concerns were coming from?
A little bit, and we
It was in the narrative.
some of the feedback was,
Some of it was the dropping off and the picking up,
yes,
and there's some questions as far as not knowing who was staff and who wasn't.
yep, and I want to fix that moving forward. By one, the camp t-shirts, I think we should have camp t-shirts every day, that say staff, so the parents know. We have a lot of younger kids that volunteer, which is, I think, the major concern, is we have our 8 core counselors who've been there for years, but it's those younger kids that don't necessarily know how to speak to parents. And that's gonna be covered in staff training in depth this year for sure, and throwing them into how do you talk with parents, and if you're uncomfortable, who do you go and who do you talk to, that kind of thing.
How are your counselors organized? Are they like, leads for different areas with some of the younger ones assigned to them, or how does that work?
what we've noticed, and I tried switching it up this year just to see how it worked, but we have in the past had a counselor per each age group.
Yeah,
So they would stay with that age group all summer long and not switch around. In the previous camps I've worked at, we've had to switch,
yeah,
and it's worked out great. But it seems with this group of kids, they find a comfort in that one counselor, and
Yep.
that's, I think, what parents want to see, and who is actually taking care of their kids. So,
well, the thing I'm thinking about is,
Yeah.
if there's concern, because they don't know who some of the younger ones are.
Yep.
If you really promote who your lead
yep,
counselors are and what their credentials are, then that means more to the parents. So it's not like, here's 12 counselors, but here's the 4
yes,
senior
the main
ones. Yeah.
senior. We're gonna do that this year with headshots and have it displayed in the gym all summer long with different facts about them, how long they've been with the program and that kind of thing.
And on the website,
Yep, exactly. Yep.
social media, meet
Yep.
counselor 1, meet counselor 2.
Make Facebook more interactive, that would be awesome.
Yep.
Going over staff training, we've kind of done the same thing every year with, we read through this huge long manual, and I think that that tends to lose some of these kids, so we're trying to find a new interactive way to go through the manual. We broke them up into small groups last year. I think that worked to a certain extent, but it's a long day for kids who are 12 to 13 years old. So we're gonna do more problem solving, more hands-on activities that you see during a summer camp, and almost like a role play type of training, instead of just the, let's sit here, let's read through this whole long list of
Yeah.
things
Yeah,
and bore these poor kids to death. So that, and I think more cohesiveness as far as they go, and the comfort level of them talking to each other is huge. So more icebreakers and getting to know each other. And I really want the older staff to kind of take on a younger staff
Yeah.
member and help them throughout the summer so that it trains them as they
Mentoring.
go. Yeah.
yeah.
That's the plan there. But with that being said, our staff tends to come back and the retention rate is great. So really defining what my expectations are and what the older staff members' expectations are to the younger kids, I think is gonna really help. The next thing with camp is revamping our counselor and training program. So we had a paid program for the younger kids in the past, and that kind of got washed away in the last couple of years because we had a lot of volunteer kids that were the same age and kids that were paying for the program, and it didn't make sense that those same kids, some are paying, some aren't. So redefining that, and Nicole, before she leaves, is gonna help me with that because she grew up through the program. She's been here longer than I have, longer than any of the other staff members have, so she's seen that kind of firsthand. She's gonna help me revamp something so that those older kids are actually getting that counselor and training piece and not just being babysat and playing some of the similar games that other kids
Okay,
play.
yeah.
So a step-by-step program, and then hopefully that becomes a feeder program for our counselors
Yep.
in the future.
Okay.
So, let's see. I think this year we found that we need to get walkie-talkies. That's a huge piece because of our half of our cell phones didn't work, as far as service. So for me, running out of the office this summer was crazy. We normally have 50 to 60 kids, and this year we had upper to 70 to 80 kids. So I was out of the office way more than I think I should have been. And it was my first year, so kind of overseeing was good, and seeing how they were doing was great. But having that,
What's the number of counselors to 80 kids?
legally, it's 1 per every 10. We try and staff 1 per every 8.
And then there's,
And then we have the volunteer kids who we
Volunteers.
supplement those groups with. So, for example, our Pioneer program, we had maybe 10 to 15 last year. This year we had up to 30. So
and
it's
what
older
level
kids,
is that?
6th and 7th graders in 5th grade. So 5th through 7th, and then we found it was more 6th and 7th graders this year.
Okay.
a lot of new faces that kind of resurfaced after not being here for a couple years. So that's the drive and why we want to kind of revamp the CIT program, to see what kids want to stay involved and what kids are just there because their parents want them to be. And I really want to bring back a better community service aspect. And we tried that a little bit last year, and I think some of the kids were a little surprised and not really ready for it. So
Yeah.
getting them the chance to warm up to doing that and giving back to their community is kind of the direction I see it going.
So walkie-talkies.
Yeah,
Seems like a no-brainer.
yeah, we need to do that. And that's easy, but it's so useful in terms of just if I really need to go down to the field, or if I can send somebody
Yep.
who can, that
Yep.
kind of stuff. And from there, our beach staff, I think I brought in somebody from UNH who I was recommended. And she was great in terms of organizing and helping me restructure the beach lessons. I had never run a beach. I don't
Yep.
know anything really about that. So having her to help me through that was really good. We had some issues with parents and some of the staff after the fact. And I'm not sure who's coming back or not, but
What kind of issues?
the way they were talking to the younger kids, the way that things have been done in the past, to this very strict
Okay.
way that she brought to the table, and
Yeah.
it was she was my age, so there was a little bit of a challenge with that, because she challenged some of the things that had been done in the past. And
Okay. Yep. Change
how I
is
saw
hard.
it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think overall, I think it was a positive experience for the swim program. Lots of good changes. We have a good staff over there right now, besides the couple of challenging pieces that we had. But overall, the changes, I think, were positive.
So it's my understanding that in the past, we've had a really hard time finding lifeguards, particularly since we staff 2 at a time.
Yes,
Is that still true?
still true. And it's like that in every town I've talked to. That seems to be the last piece that always falls into place.
Yeah.
In other towns, especially Northwood this year, they couldn't find, I don't know if they found any. But when I was
So
talking,
What do we do in the instance where we don't have enough? Like, do we have enough to cover all hours that the beach is open, or how are we managing that?
right now we do, and I have a couple of kids that are in their second year
Yeah.
that have offered to step up and get trained as swim instructors. So we're covered, I think, moving forward for at least another year or so.
Okay.
Which is great. And I know we talked about maybe opening up the beach on the weekends with lifeguards. So if I can find that, and we were overstaffed this year.
Okay.
So it may be a possibility, depending on who comes back, that we can offer lifeguards on the weekends,
Okay.
which would be, I think, helpful
Yep.
in terms of traffic and cleaning the beach up and that kind of stuff. That's about all I had with camp. I thought, for how crazy it was with all the kids and with all the changes, I thought it went well, and we had a lot of positive feedback from parents.
So overall, the survey from the parents is pretty well
It's positive.
positive.
Yep, which is great.
I got a silly question for you. I don't know if you ever thought about this, or if there's any way to practically do this, but have you ever considered some way of getting feedback from the kids and what the kids think of the program? And that might be hard with the real little ones, but
Yeah,
it would be interesting to align how the kids feel about the program when they're here with, the parents' thoughts on the program.
that's a great idea.
So just give it some food to thought. Like, you can't obviously give kids a
Right.
10-page survey, but,
Right. We typically like to ask the kids kind of what they want to do, and I heard from some of the kids that we tend to play the same kind of games because the majority wants to play the same
yeah,
kind of games.
yeah.
But I'm trying to train the older staff into not just following a schedule. this is summer camp after all, and it should be fun.
Yep.
And we do have scheduled activities and things that have to get done, but there are chunks of times where it allows them to be creative. So allowing them to kind of step up and ask the kids, hey, what do you want to do? I think is really helpful, and
Yeah.
and it makes the kids feel great too.
Yeah.
For one of our community service projects was, I had the older kids make a life-size Angry Birds game, and then they walked each group of kids, so first grade, second grade, third and fourth, through this game. And that was like, I had the most fun ever.
That's
and
awesome.
they had to teach the kids how to play the game, so it was
That's
it was
awesome.
really cool to see, and they hated it the whole way through because they had to make stuff, be creative, and it kind of took away from them just going in the woods and playing tag to, okay, how are we going to actually set this up? And they did different levels and that kind of
Fantastic.
stuff. So that was really cool
Good
to
for
see.
you, yeah, that's good.
I would like to see more ideas like that. I want to boost the staff into kind of thinking of those ideas too.
Good job.
So that was really fun. That was really cool.
That's the kind of stuff that you should promote on social media, to get people excited about what you're doing.
Yeah, and show, and speaking of that,
Post a picture.
yeah, we do a camp connector, and that's been done forever, but it's just been done on a PDF. So I'm getting ready to kind of unroll the MailChimp idea for the newsletter each month.
Yeah.
But that is something that I want to tailor into doing the camp connector, add video, pictures, so that parents can see what we're doing, weekly
Yeah.
or daily if
Yeah,
something
yeah.
cool really happens.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah,
is
I mean,
gonna
on Facebook, you can't necessarily put anybody's pictures, but you could like put a picture of the Angry Birds game
Yep.
with, maybe a counselor or something near it, but it could be
Yeah.
just a thing like, look what we did at camp today.
Yeah,
Yep, because-
just simple interactive posts.
Exactly.
And I found when we did the Halloween party, I put up a picture of the piñata and said, does anyone have any guesses to what this piñata is? And I actually had one response, so I was excited about that. I was like, we got one, so that was really cool. So hopefully more and more of those things are
That's
gonna
good.
help get people to our page to actually look at updates and look what we're doing instead
Yeah.
of finding it through the All Nottingham.
Yeah, just don't rely on people to have to
Yeah.
go through to your website,
I know it.
because
yeah.
people just often don't take the time to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They go to the other quick, easy, where
Yeah.
they can ask people and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
we'll get there. That's about all I had with camp. Is there any other questions?
No, I mean, I really appreciated the report and the surveys, but even more appreciated that you put in kind of how some of the things you're gonna do moving forward. I mean, I think that says it all to me, that, you're like, okay, yeah, we might have missed it there, but this is how we're gonna fix it. And then just, hearing some of your ideas that weren't in there, but just around programming and stuff, I think is really good.
Yeah, that's great.
And I think the other thing that, addressing some of the communication with the newsletter and such, because it seemed like and that's across the board, that's always, and it doesn't matter whether it's the town or a business, or the communication seems to be always something where everybody's challenged with, but.
I'm looking forward to seeing what, we had such big numbers this year.
Yeah.
What, is that gonna replicate itself?
Yeah.
It was dramatic. It was 20%,
Right.
25% more.
Yeah, I mean, there were days where buses didn't even cover it. We had to take the van, field trip days.
I know one thing that you did, before the season started is you added a half an hour at the end and the beginning, or just right? It was
At the beginning.
at the beginning of the day.
Yep.
And I was surprised that didn't come out in the surveys, because
Yeah.
that's, the scheduling is, from a parent perspective, is one of those.
What time do I have to drop my kids off to go to work?
Right, because there's a huge element of this is daycare first and foremost from a parent perspective, and being able to stretch the day out without costing any more money to the parents.
No,
This is a relatively inexpensive program certainly compared to private programs.
Yes.
And even compared to other municipal programs, we're cheap, which is great. I'm interested to see if that will replicate itself. What's it gonna do to you in terms of staffing is gonna, and we're gonna, if this continues, we have to talk about what's our capacity, which
Right.
we've never talked about.
Yeah.
Right.
So we'll see,
Yeah.
if it was a one-year thing, or,
Yep. Is there a point in time where you try to get a feel for how many kids you're gonna have in the summer? You just wait till signups come in?
yeah, it's such a scramble.
And
for
everybody's always
everybody.
last minute. People just,
Yeah.
it's just the nature of people, they don't.
Well, there's
Yes
some,
and
there's some
no.
that are
Yes and
biting
no.
Yeah,
their
there's-
heels in January. Where's my sign-up stuff?
Right, and it's like,
No, honestly.
And then the rest are coming at the end.
There's
Yeah.
like I know when, with my daughter, it was always like in March, I felt behind if I didn't have the summer programs lined up. So there are actually a lot of people like that.
yeah. What's interesting is that this program in particular stood out to me because I've worked at camps where we stop enrollment at 50 and you have to sign up by week. You
Yeah,
don't sign
okay.
up by day.
Oh.
We sign up by day, we sign up by, if you come last minute, if you come on a Tuesday and say, I don't have anywhere for my kid to go, we take those kids. So there's huge flexibility in what we do and where we are and how we
Which
can
is
do
great.
that. And we've always had enough kids that I have, 10 volunteer kids that I can space out and have plenty of coverage. So that's really, really cool.
Yep.
That's why this CIT program is huge
Yeah.
and super helpful for us because that allows us to take in 80 kids, which,
In a private thing, or,
Right.
you don't,
Yeah.
you don't do that.
No, I know,
You
I
don't,
know, I know.
Yeah, and there's a huge value added. It impacts a very small number of families, that extra bit of flexibility, but it's probably life-altering for them.
Correct.
That extra half an hour
Yeah,
here or
yeah, yeah.
there, or
Yep,
that
yep.
ability to
Yep.
pick up a week at the last minute, or add a day during the week, those kinds of things are, you can't do that in a private environment, but it's a huge value add for.
Yes, so as long as we can continue to offer that flexibility and the low cost, I think that's,
Yeah, and we've talked about, what is it costing us? What is that flexibility doing to us from an operational point of view? There's a limit, but at this scale, they've been able to handle
good.
it. And that's another thing I was surprised didn't jump out. I think it's in there in the accommodation questions, but.
yeah. But the 7:30 was a big, I think, was a big jump in our numbers as to, wow, I can actually drop my kid off on time. So that did help. And I had a lot of feedback from parents like, thank God you're doing this because we really needed this.
Yep,
So that was
Yep.
cool.
yep.
Next one? All right. So the holiday craft fair was the next big one on my list, and we've only had about 11 responses from the 26 vendors that showed up, but I talked to another one on the phone. And I had never run a craft fair before. I helped Janet do it last year, and then I had a wedding to go to, so I couldn't actually go and see it. So I
Yeah.
was like, oh man, here we go. But from the results I had and the conversations I had with people, there wasn't a whole lot of disappointment, even though there wasn't a whole lot of people that came through the door. People kind of expected it. It was, on a craft fair day that had 10 other fairs going on that day, and we book our day. We've always done it on the same weekend, so that really wasn't a factor. But it just made me think about how marketing was huge and how we kind of needed to revamp our marketing strategy and get a document together that even outlines where to put flyers.
Yeah,
Janet, she knew where all those places were, and I'm learning every day of new places that I can put things and get information out to people. So that's part of my plan in the next, I don't know, depending on what free time I have, is to put together a marketing plan, a marketing guide, so that whoever it is, the new assistant that comes in or whatever can see it and go, okay, so this event, we need to put this out on these websites, and we need to put this out at the school, the post office, all that good stuff. So that's,
I'm happy to work with that, work
Okay.
with you on that, because I think it's not just where you put stuff
Yeah.
out, but it's also like, what's the timeline? What do you do 30 days out? What do you do? Yeah, exactly.
I would
What do you
love
do
help with
10
that.
days out? What do you do 2 days out? That kind of stuff, so,
great.
yeah, I'd be happy to help you with that.
be awesome. It's so needed, and it seems silly, but it's so important to getting people to come through the door and to come to events. But talked with a lady at Walmart, actually, of all places, and she said it would be great if somebody in New Hampshire would just get together a list of things, of craft fairs going on certain days. Well, I have a NHRPA at my fingertips on the computer that we can try and branch out and see what other rec departments have fairs going on. Can I give a flyer to everybody who leaves the fair?
Right.
And say, hey, there is a fair going on in Lee, Dover, all
Yeah.
different places, and we're just,
Get all of the groups to coordinate,
right,
yeah.
get all the local groups to kind of get together and get each other on a list and say, hey, you're going to this craft fair, why don't you go to this one?
Yeah,
or
that's a
this
great
one
idea.
as well.
Yeah.
So that was really cool, and I was really happy to make that connection.
Good.
But that was nice, and then another marketing is to get a flyer out to all the vendors and have them distribute. And that came from a lot of the vendors there at the craft fair, so.
That's good.
We definitely have a way to kind of boost some things up and better signage on Route 4 and, you know,
What was the date of that?
the 21st, the weekend before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
It was
Oh,
beautiful
that
out too,
That
which
didn't help, right?
definitely didn't help. And I heard from other neighboring towns that their fairs were very low in numbers as well.
Okay,
So I think it was a trend this year.
okay.
I would have liked to see more. My biggest complaint of all things was about the food. I was like, man, really?
Why,
For a long time, one of the rec department's friends had always made food and I think kept some of the profits, and we got to keep some as well, but I did that all by myself this year. And people weren't upset, but they weren't expecting it.
They
So
didn't
it's
like
definitely
Oreos?
changed. Definitely changed, so maybe that's something we offer the Girl Scouts to do, where if you wanna keep all the profits that would come out of that, or the women's group maybe, or
Yeah,
something in
yeah.
town that can maybe take that on, because people don't like it. Well,
Yeah, people have been willing to do it for like to support the DARE program.
Yeah, so if we could get a group maybe to take that on, that would be great, and I missed out on the Boy Scouts for unloading and loading craft fair items, so that'll be next year.
Good.
For sure.
Good, live and learn, right?
Yep, exactly, and I've been keeping notes at every event on what I missed and what we can do to make it better, so. I think overall, a lot of positive things, a lot of positive feedback, but definitely a lot of negatives that we can make better here, so that was good. The next thing I have is the program evaluation that I've been making as I go. And it's basically an Excel document that has numbers of how much we spent, supplies we needed, what entertainment we provided, basically everything that was in the event laid out so that I can go from year to year and see what worked and what didn't. So I have that if you want to check it out. It's not complete, but it's a start.
Sure.
It'll get
Great.
better.
We love data.
That's right,
We can share.
we can share.
And I'm trying.
Oh, it's all
All
one,
one.
oh.
Oh, okay.
One is the.
We'll give it to the
revolving,
data
one is
queen.
general
Hey, you know what, could you just email it to all of
Yeah,
us? That'd be
absolutely.
great.
Yeah.
That'd be good. Oh, this is fantastic, Courtney.
Oh, yeah, that is good. You've broken it out by each program.
Very nice.
Well, the play they had in town, did that have anything to do with rec, or,
They did have a new director.
I mean, it had to do with you guys, though, the
Love
play?
this.
Get money from the proceeds, or,
We
Nice.
don't,
no?
but it is run through us technically. They have their own section in the budget, I guess you wanna call it.
There's a fund
Yeah.
There's a fund for
that
that.
washes through us, yeah.
And they always do that over at the old town hall, but
Mhm.
I think conversations as they're looking at doing a different location to fit more people, because the seating is so limited. They really did an amazing job this year. I went and saw it on opening night and it was really, really neat, so. Great program that I hope continues, as long as they can find a director to. But Susan Sigalakis is a big part of that, and, Jeff Karen, I don't know if he's but he's a really big part of that as well, so it's been great.
So this is great. What I particularly like is seeing the year-to-year numbers. That's fantastic, so that we can see the trends in how programs are going.
Yeah, and my ideal vision for that is also putting in notes of saying, okay, well, if we spend, like, my biggest thing right now, and that's coming up, is the Valentine's Day dance. And last year, in particular, we were competing with the school, and I think that they did a father-daughter dance the same night. So we had 15 people. We spent $450 on a line dancing instructor, and we had 15 people show up. So, like,
Who were we trying to attract?
I
What age?
believe the trend has been families and really anybody who wants to show up. I know the Betty's basketball team that comes in on Saturdays and during the week, they tend to go to that event too. So I don't know what the plan of action is gonna be for that, because I know that we competed.
That
Different
begs the
dance.
question of whether or not we should be doing it,
Right.
right? Yeah.
And that's what I want this document to kind of help me figure out year to year, is what's been working and what hasn't been working.
Yeah, good job.
That was the goal.
We struggled a little bit to align with school
Yeah,
partner with school ed. We're constantly talking about why we both, why
exactly.
jointly, why
Yeah.
are these, you know?
Yeah,
Um, she's trying to break through some of that, but we've not had as much success in that regard. Halloween comes to mind.
Yep, exactly, when they do trunk or treat.
right.
There's a Halloween party here and a trunk or treat up there. It's inertia.
Is that a topic we should put on the agenda for a catch-up meeting with the school board?
Probably. And it's, there's so much of what's going on up there as a volunteer-driven thing, you know, whether it's the parent-teacher organization, or whoever it is, somebody else is doing, they're in their own groove, and they're doing their thing, and we're doing our thing, and just trying to get those gears lined up is.
Because frankly, if they're competing activities and somebody up there feels very strongly about doing it, then maybe we shouldn't, right?
Yeah.
So I have a question, because you mentioned that the theater group is maybe looking for another space, and we're talking about creating this opening up that wall,
Yep.
returning the stage back to life. I'm wondering now if maybe we need to get clarification of, I mean, because if they're moving, do we still want to make
Yeah, we
that
may still wanna do it,
Yeah.
for the library
for the
mostly.
library?
Yeah. And for, you know, music stuff that we may do, but the theater, you just set a meeting date today, right, for that?
Yeah.
We're powwowing over there with the theater for a
Yeah.
couple of weeks, to talk about that stage.
Yeah,
Good.
And the library will be there. So, we'll have to decide if they're leaving, if it's worth it or not. We may not have to do as much.
right, right,
If it doesn't need to be a theater production stage, it just needs to be a library production stage, then
Yeah.
it's a
it's
little bit
a
different.
different,
Yeah.
So wait, what do you mean by they're leaving?
If they're going to a different venue.
She
If
mentioned
they're-
that because
if
they're,
they need a bigger
Just in
venue,
terms.
yeah.
So, but not in town?
Not sure. She
Okay.
wasn't, I don't think they've made any decision yet, but
Okay.
they've said they may think about it, especially because of the daycare that's now over there. And
Right,
it was, I think, a learning process for everybody who used that space this fall, because they now have to share it.
yeah.
And I think it's great that the daycare's using it. They've been great over there and clean, it's been kept up, and they've
Yeah.
been nothing but respectful as far as letting other groups use it, so.
Good.
But I think it was an adjustment for those who have been using it for years and have never had to share it before, so.
Yeah.
It was a learning process for me and them as well, and I think overall it went well, at least, and I think people are happy. Okay, the next item I had was Nottingham Day. New ideas.
How was it this year?
I think for our time frame, and again, it was kind of right in between summer camp and then what would essentially have been soccer.
Yeah,
So we have given power, I guess, to the Northern Strikers for the soccer this fall, which
Yep.
is, that we sent out a survey as well, which I can get you the results. I don't think I sent those, but I can give you those survey results as well. And that was overall positive as well, which was not shocking, but it was good to see, because there was a lot of people that weren't so
yeah,
ready to jump on board with that idea. As far as the program changing, as far as things being totally different, it wasn't. It was very much the same as what the rec has been doing.
one of the concerns was about making sure that the kids who were less experienced had a positive experience as well, and that worked out.
And that worked out.
Good, okay.
The best part of the program I heard was the 3-year-old program, which we fought to keep in, which
Yeah.
I was really happy to hear about. And I heard it went really well, and that the person who did it was Chris Howe, and she did phenomenal with
great.
those kids. So that was really relieving to hear. And as far as the other age groups, it was the same parent coaches and the same kids, so
Yeah.
there wasn't much of a difference
Good.
as far as curriculum and that stuff goes. I have shared with Brian our curriculum. I passed that on because he is the new appointed rec person over at the Strikers. So hopefully moving forward with that, we can collaborate if they still want to be under our umbrella with things. I think it makes sense. Still back, I think there's some things going on with their board that may change things moving forward, but as far as I can tell, it's positive. It gave us way more time to focus on Nottingham Day and to make that
Good.
work. So
Okay.
that
So-
was good.
Tell us about Nottingham Day.
So Nottingham Day, I thought went well for my first try at it. I was a huge part of it 2 years ago with Janet, but she did all the back end stuff, so way more to that than I remembered. But I thought went pretty well. I'd like to get more people to stay longer throughout the day. I want to say it ended at 3, but people were pretty much cleared out of there by 2. So 1:30, 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I was reading silent auction winners to the vendors who were packing up. So that was kind of disappointing, and I still have silent auction prizes in my office that people haven't picked up.
Wasn't
But-
there always like a chicken barbecue later in the afternoon?
There was, and I'm not sure, I don't think that's happened for a few years.
Okay.
It's usually a loss for whoever
Yeah,
does it.
yeah.
Maybe that's telling us we just need to stop at 2 rather than try and fill up the whole day,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, I
shortened the day.
want to just go so bold as to say, should we still be doing it? Just throwing it out there, I'm not saying that I believe that,
Right.
it's worth consideration.
Right. And I think, it's hard for a department of 2 to put on a day that large. And it could be large, it could be very large, and people want the 5K back, and I would love to provide that. I'm a runner myself, so that's something I'd like to see, but it's very hard to plan that as summer camp's wrapping up and the
Yeah.
day,
Yeah,
and making sure everything comes together. So, my suggestion would be, if we do want to keep doing this, would be to form committees. So have somebody or 2 people do sponsorships. Almost a couple of volunteers, try and get volunteers to do the sponsorships, the marketing, the volunteers, and almost head up those different subdivisions so that the workload is spread out, but there's new and fresh ideas continuously coming.
If you had a Nottingham Day, but if you held a 5K, I'm sure you get a lot of people. to
Yeah.
come. You could do just that. I mean, why couldn't we?
yeah.
Why couldn't we just,
How
Yeah.
about a Thanksgiving Day turkey trot? People love
Yeah,
those,
stuff like that too, yeah.
right,
Yeah,
think of a different event
Yeah.
instead of maybe
yeah,
the big day.
yeah.
Um,
The idea of trying to make it a committee, that, there's a challenge with that as well. I mean,
right,
She used to do that, right? There used to be a committee, and the committee
My
Fell
point of
apart.
reference is we're trying to get people to help with fundraising for Marston, and we're having trouble with that,
With that as
can't
well.
get people for,
yeah. So, I mean, my personal opinion is that you guys should do the evaluation, then if you think it's best for us not to move forward with it, I would support that.
So would I. I think it's a lot of work and for the amount of turnout.
Yeah.
It's,
But to Tyler's point, maybe let's look at the pieces
That worked.
that did work and see if we can do those some other way.
Canoe race, or, I mean, I know like Epping and Bradford, and I see that they definitely still have to.
Yeah, they do, yeah.
well, we do the
And the
fish,
water in
do we
there.
still do the fish and derby? Could it be
Yeah.
a combination of the fish and derby and a 5K? Because turkey trot, there's so many other places that do turkey trot, we'd just be competing with another.
Well, yeah, but if people just wanna do, well, it depends on how many runners, if people just wanna do it in town. that's
I
kind
know
of fun.
someone in Alabama. That might come home and
Yeah.
lead that
Are
whole
there,
thing
are there
out.
any other elements of Nottingham Day that stick
Look at
out
the
to you
difference
as
in
being
the-
really,
Fishing derby this year,
Yeah.
yeah.
really great, other than the 5K that isn't there? I mean, what's memorable to you having gone to it?
The chicken barbecue always got a big turnout, but again, it was a loss, and now with food safety and it's just, there's many more requirements to it. And so
Would a
that,
bigger tent change your mind, or?
Yeah, sure. I mean, my experience with it is I manned the PLIA booth for a number of years, and, I mean, the number of people that came over and talked to us was not,
yeah,
worth
beyond,
it.
beyond like the land use board.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when we did Marston a couple of years ago, we had quite a few
Right.
people who came up and talked, but,
Not so much worthwhile for those vendors that are setting up all that stuff. Not getting the return.
I mean, it may be a matter of like, you know, taking the aspects that were good and looking at where there's some gaps as far as time of the year where the community's not connecting it.
Yeah, we need a fall outdoor community something.
might be easier when we have Marston, right? We have a central,
Then you could
The
bring it
central
back.
place,
you could-
and then you could have the 5K or whatever end up there and do
Yeah.
a celebration
Pumpkin
there.
launcher.
yeah, exactly, axe throwing. There are places where it's actually done on a national level. There's the beer mile, where people have to down so many beers in the course of running a mile.
I've seen that.
That's the,
That'd be popular.
one of the things too, I mean, not, come or whatever, and they find out, if they want a beer or something, they can't have it.
Yeah, I mean, continue to think
Yeah.
about it and evaluate, but,
The biggest feedback I got was it's really centered towards kids.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a kid or you're a child or children or a family, why are you gonna go? And I thought that was a pretty
Yep.
good point, because a lot of the things are games for kids, or a dunking booth, or a climbing wall, and we did the dunk booth to, not only we didn't get the climbing wall, it was already booked for that day, but we tried the dunk booth, and that was a pretty big success for the good part of the day, but we didn't make as much money off of that.
yeah.
And by, again, 1:30, everyone was kinda gone.
Well, and when your target audience is kids and there's all those other things going
Going
on,
on,
sports
yeah.
and stuff like that.
Another idea is to maybe match it with a big soccer game or something on a Saturday so that people are already there, but again, how long are they gonna stay there? That's hard to tell too, so. Still brainstorming.
Okay.
We tried a photo booth this year, which I thought was great. I think location, it was not great. And we only had maybe 5 people use it, so
Yeah,
that's again, I would try to do that with Facebook, and I got way more of results with that, with the Halloween party, because it was right out in the open,
yeah,
and lots of people went to Facebook to find the photos of their kids.
yeah.
So that was cool, but again, with the Nottingham Day, not as much, so.
Yep, yep.
I think a 5K, I think would be like one of your biggest money makers if you,
Right.
there's not a lot of effort put into it either, I mean, people are gonna come. Have them is
Right.
Yeah, and Nottingham Day's not intended to be a moneymaker, it's not a.
Yeah, no, it's a community day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you do the 5K and then you have the different levels so that there's a kids race and a.
Mhm. Right. And then maybe end the day with a concert or something.
There you go.
Bring people in. We do our summer concerts, but
5K
How many
and
people
then a
come for them?
pancake breakfast. Yeah,
A
and then
5K and a what?
5K followed by a pancake breakfast. And then that's it.
but
Yep.
You could do it in,
No, but if you're talking about, you know, you don't wanna lose people, you don't wanna make it too big of an event.
right, you wanna
After
keep
people
them,
run, they wanna eat, right?
eat, they hang out.
Like, when is the blueberry?
that's in June usually, I think. The
Yeah, it's
Historical
all-
Society.
Yep,
Do 'em
that's in
together.
June. We could do it, we could
Do
pair it
do
up.
'em
Yeah,
together.
'cause you could run from the school to the pancake breakfast.
Yep, we could make
It
a
might be
route
about
that way.
5K.
Well,
Uphill.
no,
So those pancakes better be good.
you'd have to run, you'd have to start at the pancake breakfast, run and
Yeah.
come back,
Yeah.
cause your car would have to be in the same place.
It's still a tough hill, no matter which way you run.
Yeah, really.
A
No matter
challenge.
which way you go, you gotta run up to get to
It's
the
Nottingham.
pancakes.
All right.
Okay,
That's
well,
that.
you're on the right track.
Okay,
I mean, You're
yeah.
definitely on the right track.
All right, that's good. I talked about soccer a little bit, talked about the Halloween party. We have some new ideas that we have coming up. I have a guy in town who wants to try and do senior or adult painting classes, which we haven't done anything like that as far as I know.
Yep,
So we're gonna do an open house kind of night coming up here in the next couple of weeks or this next month or so. And then as soon as the new year hits, kind of unveil his schedule.
good.
See what we can do with that, see what supplies he needs and kind of move forward with that.
Are you talking like the, wet paint, they're called, they live in Nottingham too.
Yes, it's more of a watercolor-based class where he'll teach different techniques
Oh, okay.
weekly. So it's more of a class-oriented, that if people who really are interested in learning, I think that it would be something to do. And we don't have a lot of programming for the adult,
Nice.
senior people in town. So that's something brand new that we're gonna try and see what
Good.
happens. The next is, I've been told that one of the churches in town has done an Easter egg hunt, but it hasn't happened in a couple of years. I'd love to try and bring that back. We have an awesome place with the woods over there for the
Yep.
older kids to do something a little bit
Yep.
more exciting.
Yep.
We can use the field for the younger kids, and there's these new ideas with glow-in-the-dark Easter eggs. So maybe we play around with that for the older kids.
Good.
Get into it, so.
Good.
Hopefully we can pull that together. And then we've done the vendor fair for the last couple of years, and we've canceled it. I canceled it last year because it was just too much. I think I just got hired at that point. But the year before that, we may have gotten 20 people.
When is that?
Yeah.
It's in April, and it's basically, those people, the craft fair is all handmade, all handmade crafts, but this vendor fair is just like people like Avon, Mary Kay,
Oh,
those
Yeah.
and we have a lot of those businesses in town, so it's a great opportunity for them. It's just more.
yep.
So Brentwood Recreation actually put this out last year, and they do a ladies' night where they have all the vendors come, and I kind of want to play off of that and do a ladies' event, thing with mocktails and have a
Good idea.
for the little girls, like for shopping and with their mom, have a table to do, paint nails or something girly and cute. And
Good idea.
yeah, so we'll see. I'm still putting together ideas, but I think a change in that, and those are the people that we want through the doors anyways. People who are doing that and selling and creating their own business opportunities. It's great to get them in one place.
And then for guys, you'll have a night with chainsaws and
Yeah.
car parts and
Why
stuff
not?
like that.
That's one, all you need is one beer tent.
Yeah, so that's kind of some new ideas
Good.
that we've thought about
Yeah.
and want to try and see what happens, so. And then the MailChimp newsletter. That's about it.
That's great. That's really good. Nice job.
Yeah.
Very nice job. Yep. I like how, I like your program ideas. I like the changes that you're bringing to some of the, existing programs. I love this, so that we can look at trends over time. But I also like that you're not afraid to ask the hard questions and take, some of the hard, actions. So you're not taking any of that personally, you're just trying to look at it from an analytical perspective, and I think that's fantastic.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I've found that learning from negative is better, and we can make things
Yep.
stand out
Yep.
that way.
Yeah.
And make people happy that way. And to be transparent is really good with the parents and the people who are getting the program. So, one other thing is that we've been working really closely with the library to kind of boost up senior activities. I've had at least 25 to 30 seniors at luncheons, which has been great, and a big jump in a lot of the seniors that have been coming for years have said, wow, big crowd, that's awesome. So that's really cool, and the library's trying to start up a game hour at the library. So that we're gonna see how that starts, and that starts in January.
Good.
See what we get from that, and I think just little, seniors want programs, but they don't want to be called seniors. So that's the challenge
Yep.
we're facing now, in getting those who express interest to come and show their
Yep.
face, so.
Yep, good. Good job.
People of wisdom. That is what they are.
Need a new name, a new hip
Yeah,
name, so.
exactly. All right, any questions for Courtney?
No, I really appreciate everything that you sent to us beforehand, and then just listening to your thinking and the way that you're approaching things, I think is fabulous. Spot on, and you're, like Donna said, you're not afraid to just say, okay, we'll fix that, and this is how we'll do it. And also to make, maybe make some hard decisions.
Yeah.
Some people might celebrate a break in Nottingham Day, and other people might not celebrate it so much, but
That's a polite way.
you gotta look at it like,
Yeah.
exactly like you're looking at it,
Yeah.
so.
They say, keep up the good work, and
Yeah.
like I said, if something's not working, you know better than we do, then you should probably, stop it before Nottingham Day. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I mean, people would be the same ones that will say, what are we spending this money for? Nobody goes. I mean, you have to go. I know that.
And events ebb and flow, so,
That's the
interest
statement.
ebb and flow.
Yep. Good, well, thank you for, coming in tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.
Make sure they're all IPAs in the tent too.
Okay.
No, I'm sensing a really big theme with you.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, take care. Drive careful.
Yeah.
Will do.
No more accidents.
Okay. So I think that covers everything, correct? Other than going into quick non-public?
Oh, wait, I have a question for you. I see, I knew, that's why I wrote it down. You had mentioned at the last one that there's this new RSA as far as like reoccurring
Yeah, it's capital projects only.
Oh, okay.
Capital purchases only.
Okay,
Oh, really?
Yeah, so,
Bummer.
bummer. But,
okay,
yeah, so,
all right, well, now we know.
Yeah.
That was exciting while it lasted.
Had your hopes up and then dashed them.
I know, man, oh man. Heck's with that. All right, so we're gonna go into non-public, and there's no additional business to conduct after that, so we will be coming out of non-public and quickly adjourning.
I'll make a motion that we enter into non-public per RSA 91-A, :3, 2J.
Second.
Roll call, all in favor?
Aye, Tyler Eaton.
Shelley Hanson.
Aye, Donna Davis. Thank you.